we're going to talk about growth, your growth on this instrument. And I know everybody out there is working hard on this and, you know, you're practicing regularly and all that type of stuff. But there may be others out there, maybe you kind of feel like you're spinning your wheels. Sometimes you're sort of moving along and then hitting the wall every once in a while. So today, man, I want to talk about 5 things that you can do to accelerate your growth and your progress on this instrument. When I look back at when I first started and I looked at how I attacked this instrument, a lot of stuff that I did early on really impacted my personal growth on this thing. So that's what this video is about, man. I'm going to give you 5 tips on how you can get better faster. Now, there aren't any crazy magical drills or exercises that I'm going to show you in this video. This is just some practical advice that I want to give y'all that I can almost guarantee you will accelerate your progress on the drums. So considering that the title is why you clicked on the video, let's just get right to it. Number 1, and the most painfully obvious one of the lot, get serious. Now I realize that's a bit of a no-brainer, but seriously, man, like how serious do you take drumming? How often do you practice? Does it ever feel like work to you, or do you just love to practice? When I first started out playing, man, I would practice 3, 4, 5 hours a day. Now, I realize that a lot of you are older. You don't have that kind of time. You got jobs, you got families, whatever, and that's fine. But the fact of the matter is you get out of it what you put into it. So if you're really serious about the drums, then you're going to use whatever resources you got available to you to help you with your growth. So that means sitting in front of YouTube videos, reading magazines, going to clinics, all that kind of stuff. You might be younger and in school. You might be that one person that stays a couple hours after class if you can to have some alone time with the kit, or maybe you're shelling out some dough for a private instructor. All of that stuff is going to make a difference. It's all going to contribute to your growth. The reason why that has such a big impact is because of motivation. Motivation is the one thing that's going to keep you going. So you have to find all kinds of different ways to continuously feed that motivation. And funny enough, one of the things that's going to make the biggest contribution to your motivation is your own progress. So the better you get at this, the better you're going to want to get at it. That's definitely the thing that kept me going. Whenever I used to discover something, played something on the drums that I couldn't do 48 hours earlier, it got me super excited and I just wanted to keep going. So I used to practice like crazy, man. Like the only reason I would practice for 5 hours is because it was too late to practice for 6. So now that we got the most obvious one out of the way, let's get to number 2. Number 2, you might not believe this, but number 2 is this: focus on the hands. Now it's important when you're learning how to play drums to actually be sitting around the kit, you know what I mean? Because you got to get the coordination thing happening. You got to work on that muscle memory, separate all the limbs so you can get the independence thing going on. But the majority of your time, might sound weird, but if you spend the majority of your time on a practice pad to get these in shape, you're going to be amazed at how it affects how you sound on the kit. Because the fact of the matter is, man, you can work on all the chops you want. You can work on all the crazy 5-way independence that you want. But if your hands suck, you're going to sound horrible. So trust me on this, man. Great hands makes a huge difference in how you sound. So the more time you spend in your spare time when you're not actually on the drums, on a practice pad, so sitting in front of a TV and all that kind of thing, carrying a pad with you if you're going to the cottage or whatever, just get obsessive about working on your hands. And I guarantee you, man, it'll have a massive effect on your playing. Number 3, And this is crucial, man. Practice the music as often as you possibly can. Now, when I mentioned off the top that I used to go, 3, 4, 5 hours, when I was doing that, it's because I was playing the music. I was playing to all of my favorite albums, sometimes top to bottom. So I would just throw on a Police album, and just from one song to the next, I would just blow through them. When I was done that, I'd pick up another album, Living Color or something, and blow through that. Next thing I know, it's dinner time. But just playing to music in general, whether it's like your favorite band or maybe it's just an album of backing tracks, but playing to music, man, that is a crucial part of your practice. This is actually good news for those of you guys out there that have electronic kits, because number one, you can practice for a lot later because they're a little bit quieter. But all electronic kits have that auxiliary jack. You can just plug your phone right into it, and you have hundreds of albums at your disposal. But others of you out there, you might have a basement, you might have like a practice room set up in your basement, or for some, it might mean you're renting out a jam space for a couple of hours and just bringing some tunes with you. But if you leave that part of it out, you're seriously going to stunt your growth on the drums. Playing the music is one of the most important ways to practice. That leads us to number 4. Listen to and learn difficult music. Now, it doesn't mean you need to jump on this stuff right away. I mean, when I first started playing, it was all just straightforward stuff, rock, funk, all that kind of stuff. But in my 3rd year, I discovered jazz fusion changed my entire direction. When I heard Dave Weckl for the first time on a Chick Corea album, I thought I was good, and then I realized I didn't know anything. Once I discovered what was possible to do on this thing, that's where I wanted to go. So you got to challenge yourself, man. You got to challenge yourself by learning difficult music. I would suggest to any drummer, regardless of what genre you're into, I highly suggest getting into jazz. Could be bebop jazz, fusion stuff, prog, whatever you want to, whatever sub-genre of jazz you want to get into. But I suggest that you get in to jazz because it involves so much technical stuff that it's going to force you to step your game up just to keep up with it. But yeah, man, when I jumped on that fusion thing, that's when I discovered Dave, Vinny, Steve Smith, Steve Gadd, Will Kennedy. Like, I discovered so many drummers, Dennis Chambers, all of those dudes I discovered at the same time. So it just created this massive sort of new way of playing the drums that I was not exposed to before. And that, I can tell you 100%, is where I developed all of my chops. So yeah, man, after you've gotten the basics down, you've gotten pretty good at just laying down some straight stuff, challenge yourself. Get into something a little bit harder. You're gonna learn new beats, you're gonna learn new fills, you're gonna hear tons of soloing, you're gonna expose yourself to lots of different odd time signatures, stuff like that. And you need that, man. You need all of that stuff. Those kinds of things are crucial for building and expanding your vocabulary. And number 5, of course, the reason why we do this in the first place, play with other musicians as often as you can. Play with musicians on your same level. Better still, try to play with musicians that are better than you are. So whether it's just, getting together with friends on the weekend, or finding an open jam somewhere. But playing with other musicians, like being able to communicate with other musicians, obviously a critical thing, because I mean, you can get as good as you want playing by yourself, but you know, if you can't be in a room and have a conversation with other musicians, it's kind of pointless. So whatever opportunities that you can take advantage of or create on your own to play in any kind of band or ensemble situation, all of that stuff is really going to help. The reason why that's so important is because it's one thing to learn all of the technical stuff here, like on the kit, but it's another thing to be able to get into a situation and learn how to use your dynamics, learn how to use your musicality, learn how to play off of other musicians, all that kind of stuff. Because all of the skills that you build at home in your room is fine, but you eventually have to use those skills in a band situation. Because some drummers, man, I tell you, they get with a group of people and they get to playing and it still sounds like they're playing by themselves. They have no clue how to interact with other people in the room. So, you know, being able to take those skills out of your room and onto a stage or inside of a room with other players, crucial. This is really where you're going to find out what your strengths and your weaknesses are, and that's how you know what areas you're going to have to improve. So I've done all 5 of these during my learning process at the highest level, man. Like, I was a nut. I'm still a huge drum nerd. I don't practice these days as often as I used to, but when I first started out, I attacked this thing pretty hard. So some of this stuff may have seemed pretty obvious. Some of it might have been a bit of an eye-opener for you. But I can guarantee you, man, like if you're not doing any of these, you got to jump on these. I promise you, they will accelerate your progress. So now it's your turn, man. I stopped at 5, but if you have a number 6, number 7, number 8, jump in on the conversation, man. Leave a comment below in the comment section. Let us know what kind of things you're currently doing, or if you're a veteran, drop in some stuff that you've done in the beginning to help you get better. But that's why we're all here, man. Like, we're all here just trying to get better at this whole drumming thing. So there you go, man. Thanks for watching this video. By the way, if you've been digging this t-shirt, guess what? You can get one. This is part of my merch. Link will be in the description box if you want to get one of your own. I have an online store full of super cool t-shirts for drummers. Make sure you go visit the shop after you watch this video. I got like 50 different shirts and hoodies in there for y'all to check out. New viewers, new subscribers, welcome to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when the next video is coming out. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. See you next video. That should be enough.